Hello, UK. Good evening. Good afternoon. I'm Tim. I'm your host on The Buzz. I'm with you all the way till 3 p.m. talking about everything, tech, entrepreneurship. This is The Buzz, and this is where, you need to update yourself in terms of what is going on in the business world, right? Now, Dogecoin and cryptocurrency, now these are big trending, this is a big trending conversation in all platforms. If you're even in YouTube, if you're on Facebook, if it is Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok is very loud for this. And another this $100 billion valuated platform with you know with partnership that has completed a partnership with PlayStation, or even looking at getting invested or funded by Microsoft. Now, Dogecoin, what's the story here? What is happening? What's the hype? Why is everyone really disappointed over the weekend about the fact that it has dropped? Talking about Saturday Night Live, talking about the value of cryptocurrency, talking about how the Doge father is had come on the SNL show, and the results of it were not as expected by the majority stakeholders, right? So shareholders, rather, the investors of the coin. So what is the conversation here? What is actually going on? Why did the price drop? And when did it start rising? Now, to talk about this, I'm going to be giving you a quick brief on who we are, who Relax Radio is. Stay tuned right here. I'm going to show you a quick video on who we are and what we do. That's right. Now we are Relax Radio. We are on the App Store. We are on Google Play. If you want to download our app, you can always keep us with you. We are on. You can check us out on the website. You can go live on that as well. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, streaming on all the platforms, making it easier for you to reach us. Right, making it easier for us to have this conversation going on. Now, talking about Dogecoin, what was the conversation here? Why did the prices really fluctuate? What happened over the last weekend? Now they've been having, over now Dogecoin was basically, created as a joke, and there is no such. I mean, here's a few cool facts about Dogecoin, talking about how this is going on and where this actually came from, right? So to ask first of all, what is Dogecoin? Dogecoin is a cryptocurrency, and people are talking about how this is a long-term gain kind of story, and you know where it was created as a joke, rather. Even the founder of Dogecoin has basically sold pretty much most of his shares, and he actually went to the point where he bought a Honda Civic off this. Now, why is this? What was the conversation here? Why did he actually sell all his shares? Because I'd say the fact that we know, I mean, everyone knows who Elon Musk is, right? And everyone knows why Elon Musk is in the picture, and what he is. He's always concentrating on futuristic conversations. You can always, like I said, just message me or call me up on 07852 Just let me know what your thoughts are, right? Now, to break down Dogecoins and their conversation, the coin has basically been made. It was valuated at around point zero 0.01 cents when it was made. And the fact that there is no such conversation with the limit of it. So we know with the limit of something, the value of it always goes up. But there is only about, like Elon Musk had spoken over the weekend, the limitation is only up to 75% complete, and people don't really know up to where how far this can go. Now we know another cool fact about the Dallas Mavericks. These are basketball team. These are the NBA basketball team. Mark Cuban owns the team. You have Luka Doncic on the team. These guys have been accepting Dogecoin as a payment method. And I mean, now talking about the way this company runs, at least the coin, the cryptocurrency runs, at least. I'm super excited to see where it's looking at going, because over this weekend the price really went to its highest point, because I'd say, like I said, it was spoken about on all streams, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. It was very loud. And then talking about how people, I mean, there's a lot of word of mouth as well, right? And also Discord. So these are the channels that you need to keep yourself updated. I mean, I'd say, talking about the early adapter market, it's TikTok and Discord that would basically run the show right now. But looking at the conversation with who these guys are and where they've been, I'm going to basically show you, now from where they started. Now this is in Feb. So to look at the values in Feb, they were at 6 cents, right? So they were at 6 cents in Feb this year, all the way up to variating from 6 cents to 5 cents. And then somewhere around the time where Elon Musk tweeted for the first time, talking about how Dogecoin is a real cryptocurrency. He started exaggerating on Twitter about it. He started concentrating on how and where this coin is going to go. And to quote, he said Dogecoin to the moon. So I mean, if you have to look at, the conversation with where Dogecoin is going, why it's rising, this is hyped. This is strictly hyped. Now, if you had bought, let's say $1,000 of this in, let's say let's say somewhere in March, right? You would have $10,000 today, because it's literally 100 times. I mean, 10 times you'd have had $10,000 today, because it's literally 10 times the value of what it was before Elon Musk started hyping it up. Now, I'm super impressed by this, because you actually start to see what influences all these coins. And the fact that it's so decentralized, people jump on the trend, and they definitely want to see, obviously, quick gains, right? So this pretty much, in my opinion, it showed what type of clout or leverage Elon has over certain cryptocurrencies. So talking about how these guys are looking at pushing the value further, you need to understand where it's going. So with the Dogecoin concept, now we are looking, we're talking at least big numbers. We're talking, if it goes to $1, it's not still gone to $1, but the fact that it went up to almost 70 cents last weekend, this is just yesterday. And talking about how this, I'd say a day and a half ago, just to concentrate on the impact that Elon alone has made. It's super impressive, because of the fact that you see a guy that influences, basically manipulates it. He might intentionally or unintentionally do it, but we did, I mean, he is a person that likes to maintain, I'd say he's a PR master, because of the fact that we spoke about how the CEO of Neuralink had left. Now Elon also owns Neuralink, but the fact that these guys are, the fact that they've left the company, the fact that Elon and the ex CEO of this company of Neuralink has left. And although he left with a good note. And we have Elon consistently overhyping the dangers of AI. So we know how Elon is very strictly, or very, very versatily, I'd say, fluent in manipulating his PR, or his public relations, or his public reputation with his fans, with his customers, with his stakeholders rather, and I think he's a boss at it, just as important as he is in innovating different industries, especially the travel sector. He talks about he's in space travel, he's in ground, and also he's in underground. So everything space, everything travel, Elon is getting into. And not is he's not just improving it, he's revolutionizing it to a point where you are not seeing I mean, okay, if it comes to a point where the ground travel, and considering the problem of speed and traffic, he's basically come up with the concept of the underground tunnels. And this is under another company of his called the Boring Company. And what the Boring Company is doing is they're making underground tunnels where you can basically save up so much of time. You can go in. Obviously, he's promoting his Tesla to complement this as well. But where it can basically go underground, you take your car, go underground, go into this tunnel, and then it just carries your car through a certain road or path from city to city, and you save so much of time because there's no traffic. It's almost a vacuum speed transportation. So the fact that Elon is pushing so many industries to a point where, I mean, I'll be actually getting into the cars, and then I'll be also getting into space transport. But I'm gonna be actually talking more about this when it comes to how influential he is at the end of the day. Because Elon is not just he's not just an entrepreneur, he's not just an innovator, he's a marketer by actions, right? And he doesn't he keeps talking about how when although he's not a marketer, he is a marketer. He's a genius marketer. You don't see him advertising his content. You don't see him promoting his content, or even on his balance sheets, on his cash flow statements. You don't see any investment, a high investment, as much as where he would get on a normal phase. He talks about how whoever controls memes controls the world. This is so true because, no, I won't say controls the world, but influences the world, because people have a good sense of comprehending or reacting, engaging with memes these days. And to see how Elon is highly, invested in designing his messages through, we saw how with the accident. Now, when I talk about an accident, I mean, I don't really know if it's an accident or not, but talking about how when he revealed the Tesla truck, he attempted to smash a window and claimed that that window, with that hammer or whatever, that with a rock or a hammer, that it would not break. But then this in the presentation, this is like the keynote speech of Apple, that level of exposure, live exposure. He went to the point of I mean, it actually broke, that window or glass actually broke. And although that broke the news, you know that broke the news, also the fact that the design of it was very unconventional. I'd say it's super futuristic. It looks like, I mean, if you just Google the Tesla truck, you'll see what I'm talking about. You've never seen anything like it before. It looks like a space truck. It looks like something you'd expect to see in a movie like Tron or something of that sort. So I mean, this guy, I have a lot of respect for the way he integrates his marketing or his products, his pitch into the different things he does. And talking about how and where how he has actually come to the point where he's influencing so much of this value. I'm just getting to that point because you need to understand how and why he actually can control so much. From bringing a coin that was based at around 5 cents, influencing it to come by 10 times that value. And this is a coin that is still in a point where they have unlimited supply. So I'll be talking about this, I'll be breaking it down for you. Just stay tuned right here on The Buzz. I'm your host, Tim. You can always call us up. You can always hit us up, send us a message, comment on this video. Feel free to ask me all your questions, because we're going to have a long conversation in terms of productive conversation in terms of what is That is right. This is the buzz, and we're with you all the way till 3 p.m. Now, talking about the conversations that bring in anything to do with the Dogecoin market, and who Elon Musk is, how he came to such an influential place, right? And just to explain to you, how he got there, what he does, why people actually look up to him. Now, it's not like you have someone. I mean, if I'd say talking about how Warren Buffett, or if you are talking about someone in the lines of Trump, right? Giving you a word. Now we know these guys. I'm talking about these guys because this is just, although it's just my opinion, I'm pretty confident that actual buyers will not be as invested in trusting what they say. By the way, Trump's, there's a new website that Trump is developing to communicate with his fans, as he's been banned on all socials: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, my opinion, he caused such a stir at the Capitol, and I think he does deserve to be off these platforms because of the impact, the negative impact up to scale. It could cause human harm, and the impact that he could actually drive in with all these unnecessary stirs, right? So to add to the conversation with Elon Musk, now we were talking about how when it comes to his mental capability, he did actually talk about the fact that he's a victim of he is actually the first person to host the SNL, and talking about how he's one of the first people to the bring in the conversation with Elon Musk, or to bring in the conversation with these guys around the whole tech conversation. Now, Elon is basically in the lines of Elon is basically a killer in this industry, and how he talks about the ways that the company is going to grow down the line, and then where he's looking at going. I mean, no other person has been so publicly invested, so extrovertedly invested in going to space, or publishing, I mean, launching rockets to space, moving to Mars. He often tweets about little thoughts around being born on Earth and then dying on Mars, how cool it would be for the human species to become a multiplanetary species. And Elon is basically, he's a killer in this industry, and he's moving. I mean, he's doing a lot because of the fact that when you talk about why and how often, how updated he is with what's going on, people are going to trust him. I mean, he has about 55 million people following him on Twitter. There's people that have joined Twitter just because of the fact that that is the only stream he genuinely is on. So if you are to consider even something in the lines of Clubhouse, this is not as frequent, or you can't really go back in time on Clubhouse. So I mean, I'm pretty sure if you are a fan of Elon, you're definitely on Twitter, and you're staying there to keep yourself updated on what's going on in the Twitter sphere, right? So to add to it, like I said, Dogecoin has basically now come into the numbers. Now, when you look at Dogecoin and how they came from point 0.3, a point 0.3 value in terms of dollars, right? Now I'm gonna just speak in dollars because it'll be easy for everyone to relate. But from this point where they basically had the conversation of Doge increasing. Now it was at 0.05, but then the impact that Elon made in the lines of particular tweets, like God spelled back is Doge, is dog, right? And then the memes he actually made. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's invested quite a few into memes in Dogecoin. You've definitely seen a lot of these memes because it's basically a Chihuahua, if I'm not mistaken, or the pugs, and how the you basically see him, this dog, either posing like having this mischievous looking face, and talking about how if it comes to a point where the coin is boosting from zero point 0.5 cents, 0.05 cents to a zero point 0.3 cents, right? That's almost a 10% there. That's almost 10 times there. And then how when it comes over, when it comes to increase that number to a zero point 0.7, this is, I think, legendary. I mean, for him to, just tweet around it. I mean, he did give a warning to people before the show, I'd say, because he spoke about how, cryptocurrency can be cool, can be tempting, but also to invest with caution because of the fact that you don't know what. I mean, so far it is a gamble, right? And basically, coming back to the conversation around how, when it came to the cryptocurrency story in the SNL show, now you had this guy basically talking about how the value of cryptocurrency or Doge can basically impact, Tesla. And, how when it came to Bitcoin, he calls himself the Doge father, right? And when it comes to Bitcoin, Tesla has invested $1.5 billion, dollars into Bitcoin, and they started taking payments on Tesla on Bitcoin. And then the fact that with this fluctuation, Doge was basically quoted as low as 47 cents in the UK, but then coming up to 59 cents, and then moving up 28% to 65 cents, right? So after all this, we had, this the one of the guys, this reporter looking dude, he's basically asking, what Dogecoin is. He talks about, how Dogecoin is the future of currency. It's an unstoppable financial vehicle. It's going to take over the world. And then how Elon is also talking about how when it comes to the conversation with with Dogecoin and its future. So the Michael Che, this is the guy that was actually interviewing him, right? He comes to a point where he keeps asking the same question because Elon just talks about history of what Doge is. He actually comes to a point where he brings out a note, and then he talks about, okay, he shows $1 or $100 note to Elon, and Elon acts like that is almost legit. But talking about how when he is asked if Dogecoin is just a hustle, Elon says, yeah, it's a hustle. And he laughs. This basically brings down the value of the coin there alone. And talking about how when it comes to the timing, this this talks about how volatile this industry is, or volatile these numbers are, because you see Tesla shares losing steam following last year's monster rally. And then they talk about how and when I quote, they say only a fool would look elsewhere. And he says how his cryptic tweets, Doge or Dogecoin is the people's crypto. I mean, it's come to the point where the guy who created the cryptocurrency, he sold all his shares in the coin, where he just bought a Honda Civic. But now the total market cap of Doge is, it's actually worth Honda collectively. So I mean, it's so ironic because people are making fun of him, but that's his choice. I'd say not to look back and regret anything, but to consider the fact that this always has a chance of going up or down. And talking about how when you're contemplating whether to invest in it or not, always know, like I always say, put only a percentage of your net worth, put a very minor percentage of your net worth, that you might not regret investing or gambling in this. Because when you talk about how much this fluctuates in comparison to the crypto charts, or in comparison to the stock market, in comparison to gold, these values can go really low really fast, and for no reason. And if you invest in these into the respective into the wrong coins, the people can actually vouch to not disclose who they are. I mean, this is not just the whales in the market, but I'm also talking about I'm also talking about the people that create the coin. They can actually, sell the coin, go zero, go dark, and not be held responsible if, as long as their white paper has only been written in a way where it's conditioned to keep them foolproof or keep them safe as long as they do whatever they do. So this is why it's important to see who is investing in the coin, who the founders are, what purposes of the coins are, and then moving it to a point where people are strongly believing in the fact that this coin is legit, or if there's a limited supply, to which industries does it integrate, so on and so forth. So to add to this, I mean, if you have any comments in the lines of what you want to talk about. We have Sydney talking about how Honda Civic is not a good car. I mean, this is I'm just saying a story. I don't mean to talk bad about either, but Sydney, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you being here. But so what my conversation around the Honda Civic not being a good car was the fact that when you look at the owner of Dogecoin, or the founder of Dogecoin, the story is that he or she basically sold all his Dogecoin at a point where he bought himself a Honda Civic. And then this was a while back, and then now the total market cap of Dogecoin has come to a point where when I say the market cap, the collective number of Dogecoin, the collective value of Dogecoin is worth more than Honda. When I say Honda, I mean the company. This is the company that if it is funding, is giving Red Bull their engines, Red Bull their F1 engines, Honda Motors, Honda Civic, the Japanese company as a whole, right? So I'd say it's so ironic because of the fact that even the founders don't know why it's fluctuating so much. So there's no one really held accountable for it either, like that. You don't really know where it's going. The fundamentals are not as much as I know, right? It is mistake. I mean, I'd say like I said, Sydney, it's just a learning curve for them as well, right? Because you need to live and learn. Now say over this weekend alone, there were so many people that had invested. They hyped the value up by so much. The coin went up from $0.4 to $0.7, and then the minute Elon started joking or cracking jokes about the coin, the price just crashed down to zero point 0.4 again. Now the reason it started going up is because of the hype, and to add to that, with the hype, people started dumping hundreds of dollars into the coin. And as of now, they've probably lost a ton. But just after this again, now Elon also, he's like I said, he's not the person to always leave a bad mark on his reputation. So he's always the person to I'd say he likes sharing a good vibe. So if he is that person, he's definitely not like the fact that he's influenced a few losses, which is why I'd say before the show, or a day before the show, he tweeted the risks of it. So I'd say myself, I felt a lot of caution because of the fact that he tweeted this, talking about he said that something in the lines of how appealing it feels, or how tempting it might be to invest in it, or gamble all into it. But it came to a point where he also, in the same tweet, he says invest with caution, because you don't know where it's going to go. So I mean, people like Samat Palihapitiya, right? So he is also talking about, if you are, so Sydney, to talk about what crypto coins I'm invested in, I'll actually give you, I mean, I'll actually talk to you about a particular amount of coins. If you can Google these and just make tabs or whatever, you think you can do that while I talk on the show? So what I mean, Bitcoin is one. If you're looking at long-term gains, long-term gains, I mean, this is I'm also judging with the amount of information that I'm taking in. So Bitcoin is one. You have Bitcoin that has basically been fluctuating a ton. I mean, if you just check the charts, just Google Bitcoin to USD and just check the charts, see how it fluctuates a lot. So to add to that, Bitcoin is one coin. If you're looking at long-term gains, they talk about how if if they talk about how this is digital gold and it's a long term investment, that is one. The second is Ethereum. So Ethereum, if you check the charts, Ethereum has been rising by at least $1,000 in the last 3 to 4 weeks. So this is similar to Bitcoin. People talk, people like Mark Cuban are as invested. People like Mark Cuban actually are more invested in Ethereum than Bitcoin, right? So, to add to that, there's a lot of conversation around Ethereum because of the fact that it's very easy to use. Apparently, in terms of when you're using cryptocurrency, you need to consider gas fees. Gas fees are, the cost of trans cost of transferring. So, let's say if you and I are making a transfer, apart from the taxes that let's say if I had to pay a particular amount of tax, let's say if I'm out of the UK, if I have to pay you a particular amount of tax of around say 15%, here the tax, the gas fees, this is what it's called for handling, I mean, because nothing's free again. So it might come to about 5% of what our costs are. So Ethereum is one. And then talking about how apart from Ethereum, there is another coin called Cardano. If you can just type Cardano, that is another coin. And I'd say now my personal opinion is that, I mean, there is a point at this on my show today that I want to talk about how Elon basically has spoken about the use or the future of his plans with Dogecoin, because he wants to fund a rocket that, I mean, like I said, he always talks about Dogecoin to the moon. If you're on Twitter, you need to check this out. Sydney, if you are actually keen, I can add you to a group that I am in as well. That it's on Discord. You can basically just ask messages all you want, and these guys are going to help you out. Understand what questions you cater for. Now today in the morning, I just sent a message out asking what coins should I be keeping an eye out for, because this is just a very raw. This is so far it's very raw, and I'd say if you're looking at, if you have any money that you want to risk all in, you have to be ready to lose it all, or even be ready for it to 100x or 1000x, right? So if you are keen, I can add you to a Discord link. And I mean, I get some of my intel from there. It's also from Twitter, it's also from TikTok, so these are a couple of coins, like I said. So if you want me to, I can get the link. Would you be able to message our Facebook page and I'll send you the link? So our Facebook page is Relaks Radio. And you think, yeah, so do you think you can actually share your number here? Or I mean, I don't know if you're okay with that, but if you can actually send me a private message, I go as Timothy Allis on the on Facebook. You can actually add me on it and just send me a message. I'll send you the link to join the chat if you know what Discord is. So there, basically, we can have a conversation, and you can ask questions, you can brainstorm, you can. So apart from those 4 coins that I said, it's yeah, more. I mean, yeah. So people do talk about how there is a possibility for Bitcoin to even hit 200 million. Like, guys, this is just what I'm hearing, what I'm also observing. There is a chance, because of the fact that it's a decentralized network. People like governments or agencies. It's if you are you ready to type it out, Sydney? Because I can send it to you then. It's TIMOTHY space ALLES. And I'm wearing a black shirt, and there's a green background. There's trees in the background. So if you just send me a message, I'll let you know if I get the message. And yeah, I mean, going further into this, I mean, talking about how Cardano is another coin that people can actually look at considering. So I have my phone with me right now, Sydney. If you're keen, you can just send me a message or just share me any details as to how I can reach out to you. So to add to that, yeah. So Cardano is another coin. There's Polkadot. that's another series of coins that you can actually keep an eye on. And then apart from Polkadot, there is you have Polycake. That was another coin that actually came out, but I wouldn't endorse it because the coins, or let's say the people that are running it, are not as transparent as to who they are. So I wouldn't really recommend it. So yeah, I mean, in time, if we are in touch, Sydney, I can definitely keep you on the loop as well as to what I'm learning when I learn it. It's all we are all trying to make it right. So we can actually just keep in touch and see how this can go. So I mean, I'm glad you're actually interested. So if you find me, just tell me that you sent a message. If you want me to explain anything again in terms of finding me, finding who I am, I can actually send you stuff. Send you the details. Repeat my details rather. So if you are also keen, I mean, if are you in the UK, Sydney? So if you are in the UK, you can actually send us a message on WhatsApp. It's 078 53473 I'm going to just put the number here on top, and you can actually WhatsApp, you can comment, you can whatever. I can see if I can actually delete your comment after, if you want me to. So yeah, I don't think I can actually delete your comment, but because I am, how much money are you risking? I have around 20. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. So, to be honest, I get some of my intel from Aussie as well. I have two reliable friends that are heavily invested in it as well. And I don't know what your savings is. I wouldn't recommend you to put in all your savings. Like I said, one like billionaires like Chamat Palihipite, if you look at Elon Musk, their net worth is at least 140 odd billion, right? And for them to put in $1 billion is just I'd say close to 1% of their net worth. So they wouldn't, I mean, although they might make massive gains in comparison to us, that loss would be worth the risk for them. So they would have their other assets, they would have their other money on worth in other assets, let's say real estate or other appreciating guaranteed assets that are already under covered, uh, fundamental in terms of finance. So did you Sidnik, will you let me know once you send me a message, because I don't think I've got anything as such yet, but I'll be sure to let you know once I do. And I mean, talking further about the conversation with Doge, and now, like I said, Elon also, just before the show, he spoke about, and I quote, right? I quote when he talks about how cryptocurrency is promising, but please invest with caution. So if you want, like I'm talking numbers here, so it's more ideal for you to understand what I'm saying. You can get apps like CoinGecko. You can get apps to track what multiple coins are, how multiple coins are doing, and talking about how the Dogecoin is actually worth 73 billion US dollars today, and this is after an 800% jump over the last month. Now, this has actually overtaken so many currencies where it's come to the point where it is the number four on the list. So yeah, I mean, talking about the value of this now, it's superb now, because you need to consider where the money is going. You need to consider how you are structuring your investments. If you want a guaranteed, if you have time, I'd say split your money, put a percentage of it into a long term growth, something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, and the other just put it into another few coins, let's say, depending on if you're willing to lose it, if you're not willing to lose it all but ready to lose it all, like I said. Because like I said, I wouldn't recommend YOLOing it on all this. I would recommend being cautious in terms of your investment and have a strategy to it. So afterwards they talk about how afterwards, Elon has basically spoken about how he wants to integrate the Dogecoin concept into his next few missions with building the rocket, funding the rocket. So this way, I'm pretty sure. Now, his point here, I mean, when now we know Tesla bought $1.5 billion. We know Tesla bought $1.5 billion, dollars in Bitcoin, and they started accepting Bitcoin as payments. But afterwards, what they started doing was, they sold about $500 million worth of, Bitcoin. And if you ask me why, this is because, Sydney, by the way, if you have tried to reach me out, please just let me know how you've tried to reach me out so I can check the channel, please. And to add to that, add to the conversation, just coming back to the point, talking about how with the geometric energy. And Sydney, I told you that what I'm looking at, it's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum, Cardano, and Doge. Only if you have time to stay in front of a chart and just watch it like that. There are new coins if you're looking at high risk, high return, but again, it's high risk, high return, right? So how they are looking at now Bitcoin, basically the cryptocurrencies conversation here. So Doge, at least when it comes to SpaceX, they're looking at launching the Doge 1 mission and taking it to the moon, like I said, like the tweets say. So to add to it, the Geometry Energy Corporation has basically announced a mission on Sunday that, with the statement not disclosing the mission's financial value, they say that they are excited to, launch Doge to the moon, Doge 1 to the moon. And, the SpaceX vice president of commercial sales, so here we see, even if you have lost over the conversation. Yeah, I do have WhatsApp. I have WhatsApp. So I don't want to disclose my number here, Sydney. So if you have a way of just reaching out to the Relaks radio page, I think I can definitely share my number with you. So that way we can get something going on. And, if you're actually, I can actually send you the link rather. So to add to that, the mission will demonstrate. I mean, you can WhatsApp this number here as well, and I can see how we can. I can let you know before the show ends if I have got your number or not, and then we can see how. And then I can send you the link. So yeah, you can actually WhatsApp this number here. It's if since it's UK, instead of the 0, let me edit this for you. So WhatsApp this number, Sydney. It's +447852 because it's a UK number. And just maybe send me your message, send me your number, just type your name out and just say it, and then that way I can send you the link as well to join the Discord group. So once you join the Discord group, you can basically, it's just a matter of asking questions. You can basically add value or extend the conversation. But I'll definitely know once you WhatsApp our number. I'll let you know once I get the message, Sydney. Once you WhatsApp the number, as I'm keeping the phone in front of me right here. And so talking about how further, Dogecoin, and then how, Elon has basically spoken about how in April that, they literally said that, Dogecoin was going to the moon, to the literal moon, right? And we know that at the end of this year, that Doge is basically SpaceX rather is looking at, moving rockets or moving people to space, and then further in 2024 they've targeted for people to actually go to Mars. So I mean I'm like, as interesting as the whole topic here is, I'm super excited for the space programs, the space travel programs. And with Blue Origin, with Virgin Galactic, with these companies competing with each other, I'm super excited to see where this industry is going to go, because with competition the prices are going to be competitive. So I read somewhere that when it comes to Blue Origin as well, the first flights, they've basically arranged seats for everyone, but there is Sydney. Just let me know once you have WhatsApp this number, and I'll confirm if I have got the message. So to add to it, talking about how Blue Origin is basically looking at uh, uh, a way for these guys to move to Blue Origin is basically looking for a way where these guys can basically move to um, auctioning one seat, and this seat basically will be to have whoever on board the rocket and take them to space as well. So to add to the conversation here now, when you talk about, I'll be breaking this down. I'm with you all the way till I'll be on this show for another hour and a half. And so, Sydney, don't worry about time. If you're sending your message now, you can basically send it. I'll be glad to, help you out with this. And to basically add to the conversation here, we have, Geometric Energy Corporation, and talking about how these guys are basically looking at when they say they're taking this to the moon. I mean, they mean the literal moon, right? And when they talk about how they're looking at moving the conversation of when they take the conversation of moving people to the moon, it's super interesting, because I'd say it's more than a challenge. It's going to be a super conversation where people actually add a lot of value to it, or they actually come to a point where they are moving to the conversation. Sydney, if you are still online, just share your Facebook handle here. I'll actually add you, and then I'll make sure you get the Discord link. Don't worry about that. So apart from the conversation here, apart from the conversation with Elon and coming to the moon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a conversation around the point where, I mean, if you've been watching the Spanish Grand Prix, right? If you've been watching the Spanish Grand Prix, now it's super interesting. I think, I mean, me personally, I honestly got hooked onto it after watching Drive to Survive, right? And this whole concept of how you get the insight of all the drivers. Basically, you get the insight of who the drivers are, and you get an insight of from where these guys are going, and then moving even further into the conversation with the drivers, with the team principals, with the racers, with their families. You get a whole insight to another level in terms of you get up. It's like you get up close and personal. It's like you have a conversation with the drivers. So it's super cool, because this personally has got me also invested in the whole the F1 conversation. And Drive to Survive is basically, if you haven't heard about it, it's on F1. It's on Netflix as well. It's streamed on Netflix. It's produced by Netflix, and these guys basically have 3 seasons, if I'm not mistaken, and they showcase behind the scenes on every race weekend. Even through COVID, they come through. They come to talking about who the teams are, what their stories are, what the team's history is. The team structure, the finances, all that, and then engineering about the cars, earning money for the teams, sponsorships, all these conversations. it's super drama, but it's super cool. It's super interesting as well. So if you are, trying to, join, the conversation here, just feel free to comment on this video. You can actually join in live as well. You can, join one of our chats as well. So you can actually add more value in terms of, what is going on. You can just let us know what you want us to talk about. So coming about, how there is 24-second now. Now, if you've been watching the F1, right now, this, like I said, it's what got me into it. And, talking about how, with the Spanish Grand Prix, there is, a conversation around how Mercedes has laid the foundation of victory. I mean, this we already know, but it was not the easiest for Lewis Hamilton. Now we know that Bottas and Hamilton have had their internal rivalry within the team, but then, to add to that drama or the rivalry, you have Max Verstappen coming, the young guy. He's all fire blazing. Talking about, trying to win the pole positions. He came first on last weekend, but he just missed it this weekend. I mean, they had a strategy in terms of switching the coming to a point where they pitted at, I'd say, a wrong time, but they had estimated for a different strategy there. They obviously gave Mercedes a good fight, but Hamilton came in the lines, and he came in through at the last bit, and he won. But at the Spanish Grand Prix, at this circuit, this always kind of proves who the world champions are. And then losing this battle, I mean, if they really would blow the championship underdogs, and I mean, if Red Bull would actually blow these guys off, take the rug off what they were standing on, and securing their pole position, this would be a superb conversation as to how and where these races would go, or the results of the race. Sydney, if you are still logged in, just let me know. I'll look into a way as to how I can get in touch. If you have sent a message, just do that, and then I'll see how we can continue a conversation. But talking about now, Verstappen has basically spoken about how he was not the happiest about getting out of the race with the results. He is sad that he came second, but I mean, that's sports anyways, right? That's sports. At the end of the day, you need to be ready for winning and losing. So talking about how if you are a conversationist, if you are looking at the way you want to expand the your races, or come to a point where you are into races, and then if you are looking at raising capital rather. So the point for them that Verstappen had spoken about is that on that race weekend they were very good, but although it's very hard for them to be beaten, the odds were just not in their favor that night. And talking about how when it came to a conversation around winning the race, I mean, although he was leading by at least 23 seconds with Hamilton, this is just the first two places, right? So this is just the first two places. And talking about how when it came to this, Hamilton was basically just trailing by 23 seconds, and then it came to a point where Verstappen needed to get out of the track to pit. Hamilton had come in line, and then their strategy just hadn't seemed to be in their favor. And it's sad in a way, but you have to consider the fact that this is sport. And although we see these guys now, when it comes to the sport, or when it comes to, like I said, the conversation around these guys, you will win a lot, you will lose some as well. But coming into this conversation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be right back with you with another live and just break down, what happened there, and how SpaceX is actually looking at, accepting Dogecoin as a payment to launch, next year, launch Doge 1 mission to the moon next year. So stay tuned. I'll be right back with you. Good evening.